The orphanage beneath the stars. The children of Irenia Outpost always woke to the same sight, the gentle swirl of the gas giant filling the sky. Its pale blue storms glowed like living lanterns above the transparent biodomes that kept them safe. For 3,000 years, longer than any human civilization had existed uninterrupted, these domes had never known the sound of war. They housed gardens, classrooms, quiet corridors, and the pan-human orphan sanctuary, a place where humanity placed its most precious responsibility, its children. Director Lien Voss stood at the main balcony, watching morning light refract through the dome's crystalline shielding. The orphans played below, wearing the simple white uniforms that symbolized unity. She breathed in the calm, always grateful for the silence. After a lifetime spent mediating negotiations between fracturing star nations, she had chosen this final chapter of her career carefully. Humans no longer needed diplomats. Peace had been unbroken for 30 centuries. Her work was obsolete, yet she still felt something stir in her chest each dawn, a memory of darker ages when war could spark from a single miscommunication. Director Lien, Mira called from below. She was 9 years old, small and sharp-eyed, always carrying her tablet like a shield. June took the last ration bar again. A taller boy jogged behind her, laughing. I did not. I took the second to last. Their footsteps echoed through the orphanage hall as they continued bickering. Lien leaned on the railing, warmth settling into her face. They're growing fast, came the quiet voice of Instructor Hale at her side. In a few cycles, they'll be applying for the academy. Peaceful futures, Lien said softly. The best we could hope for them. Hale nodded, but his brow knitted. Have you seen the orbital readings? The sensors picked up unfamiliar energy signatures an hour ago. Distress signals? Lien asked. No, just movement. Large-scale movement. Lien let out a breath, steadying her thoughts. The Empire patrols those lanes. Probably calibration noise. They've honored the Treaty of Ascension longer than humanity has existed as a unified species. She never finished the sentence. A tremor, faint but unmistakable, rippled through the floor. The children looked up. Papers drifted from Hale's datapad. Lien's fingers clenched the railing as a second tremor followed, stronger this time. Then the sky changed. Bright streaks tore across the horizon, burning, molten trails of fire that screamed toward the biodomes. For a moment, everyone stood frozen, unable to process what they were seeing. The domes had never been breached in their entire existence. Safety was a certainty, a guarantee embedded into every human. Director? Hale whispered, voice cracking. Are those? The first projectile hit. A deafening crack shattered through the sanctuary as the impact tore a hole the size of a shuttle through the nearest dome. Glass fragments erupted outward like a deadly rain. A shockwave engulfed the playground. A fireball blossomed inside the dome, turning lush gardens into blazing infernos. Children screamed. Run! Lien bellowed, already sprinting. Everyone to the shelters. Hale, get the little ones. Alarms blared, frantic, discordant, a sound that had not echoed across human territory in millennia. Gravity flickered as power systems surged. June grabbed Myra's hand, pulling her away from falling debris. Another impact struck, this time closer. The dome directly above the central hall fractured with a horrifying spiderweb crack. Air roared outward as the pressure difference began to tear the structure apart. Lien slammed her hand against the emergency shutters, forcing them to descend with agonizing slowness. Come on, she whispered. Come on. A toddler stumbled before her. Ailey, eyes wide with confusion. Lien scooped her up. A shard of glass scraped her arm, but she barely noticed as she rushed into the narrowing safe corridor. Hale herded a cluster of children behind her, shielding them with his own body as fire rained outside. The third projectile was the worst. It smashed into the orphanage's primary dome, the largest structure on the outpost, the heart of the sanctuary. The explosion didn't merely shatter glass. It obliterated it. A wave of heat and debris blasted through the corridors, hurling Lien and the children forward. The emergency shutters slammed down, sealing the corridor just as the outer section disintegrated. Lien hit the floor hard. Pain lanced through her ribs. Ailey cried into her shoulder. Smoke seeped through the vents. The corridor lights flickered, then stabilized in red. Director, Hale coughed, leaning against the wall, blood on his lip. Why would who would? Lien reached for her wrist unit, fingers shaking. Broadcast emergency distress. All channels. Static. She tried again. This is Director Lien Voss of Irenia Outpost. We are under attack. The orphanage, the domes, they're targeting civilians. Children. A beat of silence. Then the orbital identification came through. Imperial warship fire signature detected. Lien's breath stopped. No, she whispered. No, they wouldn't. But the evidence was irrefutable. The Empire, allies for 3,000 years, had fired on them deliberately. Another explosion rocked the station. The corridor ceiling groaned. Lien pressed the transmitter one last time. To any human authority, please, they attacked the children. The corridor shuddered violently as the final dome collapsed behind them. Her transmission cut to black. The day humanity remembered how to be terrifying. On Solara Prime, the heart of human civilization, the Senate chamber was silent. The transmission from Irenia Outpost replayed on the central holoscreen for the third time. Each senator, scientists, philosophers, mediators, sat frozen as Director Lien Voss's final words echoed through the hall. They attacked the children. Static washed over the chamber. The recording ended. For a long, suffocating moment, not a single breath dared to break the stillness. Senator Inari, the oldest member of the council, finally spoke. Begin the forensic verification. Now, technicians rushed to comply. Streams of data scrolled across auxiliary displays, orbital trajectory models, spectral signatures, radiation patterns. Nothing was left to interpretation. Every variable was cross-referenced with 3 millennia of peacekeeping archives. A cold, clinical voice from the analysis AI, Arbiter 7, delivered the conclusion. Confirmation. The projectiles originated from Imperial command vessels operating under full authorization. Probability of accidental launch, 0.0000002%. Attack was intentional. The Senate erupted. Dozens of senators shouted at once, some in outrage, some in disbelief, some demanding immediate diplomatic channels. But the sound was hollow, frantic. No one truly believed this was a misunderstanding anymore. Senator Kaylees slammed his palm against the desk. 3,000 years of peace violated. Why? Why strike a children's sanctuary? Perhaps a rogue admiral? Another senator asked weakly. No rogue admiral has access to war-class projectiles, Inari countered. This was sanctioned. The room buzzed with fear. Humanity had forgotten the sensation of war. No one alive had ever experienced it. They taught about it in history classes like an extinct evolutionary trait, something primitive and unrecognizable. But the footage of flaming domes replayed again on the holoscreen, and an ancient instinct began to reawaken in every watching soul. A quiet, heavy voice resonated through the chamber. Summon the War Council. Every senator froze. The War Council had not convened in 3 millennia. Not since the day of unification, the end of the last conflicts that had nearly destroyed humanity from within. Its chambers were sealed. Its protocols were considered relics, museum pieces. It represented the darkest, most dangerous aspect of humanity. The version of themselves capable of total, overwhelming retaliation. Is that truly necessary? Senator Rowe whispered. Inari looked at the burned orphanage dome, the fleeing children, the lifeless shape of a caretaker on the floor. Yes, she said, we must remember who we once were, because the Empire thinks we've forgotten. The awakening beneath Solara Prime. Deep under the capital, in a vault sealed by ancient oath, for figures entered a chamber lit only by dormant consoles. Dust lay thick on forgotten war artifacts, data cores, tactical tablets, handheld command seals. The central pedestal pulsed faintly as Inari placed her hand on it. "Activate the War Council of Soul." The vault responded. Lights flared to life. Power conduits hummed. Massive blast doors hissed open, revealing the Leviathan Fleet Command Corps, an entire subterranean control nexus designed for humanity's most devastating strategic operations. Technicians who had never expected to use these systems scrambled to revive them. Archivists unsealed ancient war doctrines. Historians read aloud the protocols of engagement, strict rules designed to prevent cruelty and ensure humanity never fell into barbarism again. But alongside those words was something else. A list of the weapons humanity had vowed never to use, unless provoked beyond all forgiveness. Singularity rail cannons, solar mantle lances, thunderhead titans, war AI constructs capable of calculating entire battlefields in fractions of seconds. Each system awoke one by one, their startup echoes rumbling through the deep earth. Senator Cayley's watched, expression tightening. "For 3,000 years we forgot what these machines look like," Inari replied. "That is the only reason we survived that long." The public awakens. Meanwhile, the footage from Irenia spread across the human worlds and censored. Billions watched as burning shards fell over screaming children. Billions saw the Empire's signature weapon imprint. Billions listened to director Lien Voss gasp her final plea. A wave of emotion surged through human space. Not fear, not sorrow, something deeper, something older. A protective fury that transcended species, culture, and time. Parents clutched their children. Teachers wept. Elderly citizens whispered of ancient stories, of the time when humanity was feared across a dozen sectors, not for cruelty, but for terrifying resolve. For the first time in many lifetimes, humanity spoke with one voice. They attacked our children. Across every world, people demanded justice, not with hatred, but with iron certainty. Humanity did not start wars. Humanity did not conquer. Humanity did not kill without cause, but harm their young. And humanity became something the galaxy had not seen in 3,000 years. The decision. The Senate reconvened for a vote. The chamber was silent as Inari spoke. "We gave the galaxy peace. We offered trust. We protected the innocent. And the Empire repaid us with fire. If we do not stand now, then we are complicit in their slaughter." One by one, senators raised their hands. Unanimous. The central console lit with the highest classification signal humanity possessed. Declaration of war, approved by all sectors. A single message was transmitted across the stars, addressed to the Empire. "You shattered the peace with your own hands. Humanity comes for justice." The solar wrath unleashed. On the bridge of the imperial flagship Varkathian, Grand Marshal Zorathy leaned back in his throne-like command chair, watching the holographic report with mild amusement. "So the humans are mobilizing?" he asked, mandibles twitching in condescension. "Yes, Marshal," an officer replied nervously. "Their Senate has declared war. Their ancient defense networks are reactivating." Zorathy scoffed. "Defense networks? Humans haven't lifted a weapon in 3 millennia. They've spent their existence preaching tolerance and restraint. What do they think they can do now? Send diplomats armed with stern lectures?" Laughter rippled through the bridge. But that confidence would last exactly 6 hours. Because 6 hours later, the Leviathan fleet arrived. The first shadow over Imperial space. In the Ivanor sector, Imperial Commander Threx was patrolling standard routes when his sensors began screaming. Not once in his 20-year career had he seen every warning light activate simultaneously. "Report," he barked. His officers paled at their screens. "Something massive just entered the sector. No, 3 somethings. Sir, they're human signatures." Threx blinked. "Impossible. Humans don't." A shock wave interrupted him. A human super dreadnought, Leviathan, one soul's aegis, materialized out of FTL, eclipsing the Imperial cruiser like a mountain rising from hyperspace. Its hull glowed with solar mantle energy, a shimmering, sun-like aura once thought to be myth. "Sir," his lieutenant whispered, "that ship matches no known class. It predates the treaty era." A transmission opened. "Imperial vessel, you are ordered to stand down. The attack on Irenia is acknowledged. The response has begun." Frex froze at the voice, calm, even compassionate. But then the human dreadnought fired. There was no dramatic build-up, no sinister charging sequence. Just a quick, efficient burst from the solar mantle lance that sliced through the Imperial shipyard behind Threx like a blade through silk. The entire structure turned white-hot, melted, and folded inward before erupting silently in space. Threx stared at the destruction, speechless. "Sir, humans shouldn't have weapons like that. Those were outlawed." "No," Threx said quietly. "They weren't outlawed. They were archived and forgotten. Human ground assault, precision over brutality." On another frontier world, Imperial forces had hastily mustered troops around a strategic relay. They expected human infantry to be primitive, outdated, if they even deployed any. But when the first transport pods landed, the Empire realized just how disastrously wrong they were. The doors opened, releasing not rampaging berserkers but calm, disciplined soldiers in solar mantle armor, each one a walking fortress. Their movements were deliberate, economical, terrifyingly synchronized. "Hold your ground," an Imperial captain shouted. The humans advanced without firing a single shot. Not until the Imperials fired first. Blue plasma bolts streaked toward them, but each one harmlessly dispersed on human energy shielding older than the Empire itself. When the humans returned fire, they did so with surgical precision, disabling rifles, severing support legs of artillery, stunning officers, avoiding civilian zones with absolute accuracy. This wasn't war. This was judgment delivered with controlled efficiency. The Imperial captain dropped his weapon. "We surrender. Don't kill my men." A human soldier stepped forward, visor retracting to reveal a woman with steady gray eyes. "We do not kill those who yield," she said. "We are here for justice, not annihilation." The captain blinked. "Then why are you here?" Her expression hardened. "You attacked our children." The Empire's panic spreads. Back aboard the Varkathian, Grand Marshal Zorathy's arrogance drained as reports poured in. "Sir, the Varanyards are gone. Melted. Multiple noble estates destroyed. They were targeted specifically. Human infantry have overrun the Velic Bastion. They took 0 civilian lives. Entire outer fleets are surrendering. Marshal." Zorathy slammed a fist onto the console. "This can't be happening. Humans were peaceful, soft, weak." An officer turned to him, eyes wide. "Marshal, they were peaceful because no one forced them to remember otherwise." The broadcast that shook the galaxy. An encrypted human message was transmitted openly across all star nations. Every world with a receiver, ally, neutral, or imperial, saw the same sequence. Footage of burning domes, children running. Director Lian Voss's final message. The Imperial projectile signature identified with perfect clarity. Then a human admiral appeared. Admiral Seraph Kales, armor gleaming like a supernova. Her voice was calm, but every syllable held the weight of ancient human wrath. "We do not seek conquest. We do not seek to punish innocents. But the Empire targeted our young, and so humanity rises." Billions across the galaxy felt their hearts tighten. Parents held their children. Diplomats wept. Even enemies of humanity fell silent. For the first time in living memory, the galaxy saw the old humans, not conquerors, but protectors whose fury was reserved only for those who hurt the innocent. The turning point, the Varian Gate. The Empire gathered its greatest fleet at the Varian Gate, a fortress station believed to be impenetrable. 5,000 ships, 7 dreadnoughts, an entire generation of Imperial war doctrine. Zorathy stood on the bridge, trembling despite himself. "Let's see humans stand against this." Then space tore open. 3 human fleets arrived, each commanded by a battle AI that had once been deemed too advanced, too dangerous, too intelligent for peacetime use. The Empire's sensors broke under the strain. Their targeting systems failed. Their shields buckled. The first human volley destroyed 2 dreadnoughts outright. Zorothy whispered, How are they so powerful? A nearby officer croaked. Marshal, it didn't grow powerful. We just forgot what they used to be. The battle ended in 42 minutes. A single human message followed. This is not conquest. This is the path to judgment. Judgment delivered without hate. The imperial homeworld, Varkaros, had never known fear. Its sky was always quiet, guarded by impenetrable shields and a fleet large enough to intimidate entire sectors. Its people believed themselves untouchable. For generations, imperial children were taught one truth. The Empire is eternal. But on this day, the sky trembled. At first it was just a shimmer, an unusual distortion above the clouds. Then the shimmer widened, glowing like the birth of a star. Civilians looked upward in confusion. Soldiers raised their rifles. Officers attempted to contact orbit. And then, soundlessly, the first human Leviathan descended. It didn't arrive with flames or weapons drawn. It simply appeared, a titanic silhouette that blocked out the sun. Its hull gleamed with solar mantle radiance. More ships followed, sleek, ancient, and terrible, not arranged for assault, but for inevitability. The Empire watched, helpless, as an armada older than its entire dynasty encircled their world. Inside the Imperial Palace, panic raged. Marshal Zorothy, our orbital fleets are gone. We cannot defend the planet. Activate planetary shields. Shields are failing. The human mantle disruptors are destabilizing output. Zorothy stood in the war room, trembling. He had seen the reports, the surrendering admirals, the annihilated fortresses. But this was something no imperial doctrine had ever prepared him for. Humanity had arrived not as conquerors, but as executioners bearing justice. He swallowed hard. Open a line to the human flagship. The meeting above the capital. On the bridge of the human vessel Soul's Aegis, Admiral Seraph Kales stood before a panoramic view of Varkaros. Her armor glimmered like a living star, its etched pattern representing 1,000 years of peace. Peace the Empire had shattered. Communication from the Imperial Marshal. The comms officer reported. Put him through, Kales said. Zorothy's face flickered onto the holoscreen. Gone was his arrogance. His mandibles quivered with fear. Admiral Kales, he began. Humanity has made its point. This display, this overwhelming force, surely it must be enough. Kales's expression did not waver. No, it isn't. Zorothy stiffened. We admit fault for Irenia Outpost. A regrettable action by your direct order, Kales cut in sharply. We have your signature. We have your communications. There is no regrettable action here, only murder. Silence filled the bridge. Kales continued, voice steady. You killed our children. The Marshal opened his mouth, but no sound emerged. Kales leaned forward slightly. You misunderstand our presence here, Marshal. We are not here to punish your civilians. We will not raise your cities or spill needless blood. Unlike your empire, we don't wage war on the defenseless. Zorothy blinked. Confusion battled fear. Then why bring your fleet? Kales raised a hand. The view behind her shifted, now showing dozens of small transports emerging from the Leviathans. For you, she said. The judgment operation. Imperial defenses were powerful, but they were designed to fight armies, not the surgical precision of human special forces. Human dropships slipped through collapsing shields like whispering shadows. Units landed not in crowded cities, but on military structures, government bunkers, and the Imperial High Command secure districts. They disabled weapons instead of detonating them. They seized power stations without harming workers. They subdued soldiers with non-lethal shockwaves, immobilizing thousands without a single fatal casualty. For all its might, the Empire discovered something horrifying. Humanity didn't need brutality. They were simply better. Ground forces reached the Imperial Palace in 18 minutes. Zorothy fled deeper into the bunker systems, guarded by his elite. He shouted orders desperately. Hold them back. They must not breach the throne vault. But the humans did not come raging. They moved like liquid steel, silent, unstoppable, inevitable. One by one, his guards fell to stasis rounds, not lethal beams. Finally, the last door blew open, and Admiral Kales entered with a squad of warriors whose armor glowed with mantle light. Zorothy backed away, limbs trembling. "Please, Admiral, I surrender. Take me prisoner." Kales looked down at him, her expression unreadable. "We are not here for conquest, Marshal. You're here to kill me?" "No," she said quietly. "That would be too merciful." Zorothy froze. Kales gestured to her soldiers. They projected a holographic record. Every order he issued, every confirmation, every authorization for the orphanage strike. "You will stand trial," Kales said. "Not by us. By your people." My people." His voice cracked. "You ordered the death of innocents. The Empire's civilians deserve to know, and they deserve to judge you for it." Kales turned away, leaving him to collapse against the wall, defeated not by death, but by justice he could not escape. The aftermath. A galaxy changed. Imperial citizens watched the trial unfold in broadcast squares and home holoscreens. They saw the truth with their own eyes. Zorothy's deliberate attack on children. His attempt to frame humans. His use of fear to strengthen his political power. Outrage spread, not toward humanity, but toward their own corrupt command. Within weeks, the Imperial Senate dissolved the military junta. A new charter forbidding aggression was drafted, with human diplomats advising but not controlling. Admiral Kales stood before the Galactic Assembly months later. "Humanity did not break the peace," she said. "We answered its shattering. Will humans withdraw their fleets?" A delegate asked nervously. Kales smiled softly, a rare gesture. "Yes, we do not stay where we are not needed. But remember this, we are peaceful because we choose to be, and we are terrifying only when forced." Across the galaxy, species nodded in solemn understanding. Humanity had not returned to conquer. They had returned to remind the stars of something unchanged in 3,000 years. Harm the innocent, and humanity becomes something unstoppable. Peace returned, this time stronger, wiser, and earned.